Greetings, everyone. So today I'm covering the power of emotions, and this builds on the human design classes that I've taught at the Academy, TonyUmesiri.academy. So previously I've covered emotions and feelings, using emotions when it comes to coaching other people, also understanding your own emotions in relations to other people. We've covered 7 classes on that already. So today I want to dive into the power of emotions. And this is going to change your life pretty much. So I want you to see your emotions as a signal into your mind. Okay? So the mind is the information processing system of the body. Okay? We're all made up of systems. We have the digestive systems, we have the respiratory systems, right? There is a system that handles the metaphysical, right? How your mind uses your body and gives energy to mobility, okay, through your nervous system. So what usually happens is that when it comes to emotional intelligence, this is not something that the whole world has been groomed on. And so I'm going to dive into this because pretty much everybody in the world needs this. Most people cannot even talk about their emotions. That's also another thing that is going on. Like, people don't feel comfortable talking about what's going on within themselves because people are not given the tools to dive into their own reality. People taught us how to brush our teeth, self-care, take a shower, clean up, comb your hair, look good before you step out. This is about mental health. This is about your mental health. How do you care for yourself? In the classes, the human design classes, I talk about self-therapy, lots of tools, tons of tools in those classes for those who want to achieve success, because again, you're going to subject yourself to incredible pressure on your journey to success, on your journey to achieving higher goals for yourself, and your ability to understand what's going on within you, to manage yourself, to drive your car, like I usually say, right? This is an indicator, just like a red stop sign, right? As you're driving, this is what emotion, I want you to think of emotions are. Okay, so consider that your emotions, they are signals into what's going on in our mind. And so, for example, there are different types of emotions. Let's say stop, right? Red, yellow, green. Let me just break it down, just like a traffic signal. Okay, red, yellow, green. There are certain emotions that give you momentum forward. They give you the energy to advance, the energy to progress, the energy to achieve your goals, the energy to move forward. What gets tricky is when people encounter what we call negative emotions. Okay? We tend to talk about negative emotions, positive emotions, but trust me, they are a signal. Like if you were to eat food right now, okay? If you were to eat food and you developed stomach ache, right? Or you got bloated or something went off. Immediately you are trained to say, what did I eat? You're immediately trained to assess what you did, the action you took that contributed to your discomfort. Okay? So we are trained to say, if you eat something, we're trained that certain stomach upset is not normal, that discomfort is not normal, that you've ingested something that your system is trying to get rid of. What I'm trying to train people on, and this is what we're doing in my school, is understanding that emotions function the same way. When you consume certain type of information, your system is trying to digest it. And if that information is toxic to your system, is not good for you, you will get a signal in the form of what we call negative feelings, negative emotions, right? And I'm going to give you examples today. 7 classes in my school: the human design, emotional intelligence, spiritual psychology. This is a game changer for my entrepreneurs because emotions is why most people stop their journey. When you want to achieve greater success in life, as you're trying to solve for your company, as you're pursuing leadership, you're trying to create wealth for yourself, the mind would be tasked to solve more problems. The mind will be tasked to, right, investigate and find solutions. The mind will be tasked in a very incredible way. Like you're going to put your mind to work when you're trying to build a business. You're going to subject your mind and your body to incredible pressure to perform, to produce. And that pressure in of itself creates emotional dysregulation. And so when people don't know how to handle that dysregulation, people back out. Listen, this is real pain in the body. You want to lose weight? If you cannot bear the pain of being on a treadmill, of doing the work, of your mind saying, I'm done, if you cannot override that emotion, you will not be able to move forward. Champions know how to manage their emotions, and they do not let their emotions stop there. It is a signal that you can override if you have the tools. So I'm going to quickly give you some examples now. Start, stop. We have this PowerPoint slide that I created. On the left side, that's from the human design class. You already know that design, how emotions are created in the body, the difference between emotions and feelings, how your experiences are interpreted with your mind, input, process, output, right? When you take in information, your mind processes it. Output, the first output indication are emotions, chemical reactions in your body that releases hormones that creates a chemical reaction to really give your body a signal. It gives your body a go, a red, or a stop. When you're happy, when you're fulfilled, listen, your body will move freely through life. If you're not, your body stops. It's a signal. Your mind is signaling to your body based on your thoughts. So let me give you quick examples of very common emotions. Very common emotions. Anger and fear. Okay? Anger and fear. What happens in the body when you're afraid or you are angry? These are two emotions in similar spectrum. I'll give you the difference between the two. Okay? Anger is an indication, both anger and fear is an indication that you've seen something or experienced something or you perceive something you do not like. Both anger and fear is that you've experienced something, you've seen something, right? You've heard something that you do not like. The difference between the two, anger and fear, is when it comes to fear, you are powerless. You feel powerless, that you don't know what to do. You cannot, whatever it is you're seeing or experiencing, you think that stuff is bigger than you. Anger is that you actually think you can do something about it. This is when people lash out. Your attempt to get rid of the anger leads to you doing something. Now, some people may react to anger externally or internally, but the body did something to combat the anger. So, for example, anger, fear. You've seen something, you've experienced something, you've heard something that you frankly do not hear, you do not like. So the key is, are you going to do something about it, or do you think you cannot do anything about it? That reaction, okay, okay, does something in the body because that energy now is trapped. Usually, if you were in a jungle and you saw a lion or a bear, part of why the mind released the energy to the body is to give you strength to run, right? So that energy is giving you, whenever you experience fear or anger, usually your body is flooded with so much energy, the energy to pursue, to chase or run away. That's what fight, flight, freeze. Is that fear, anger, the mind, when you put a thought in your mind, and those thoughts can come from your sensations, the five senses of the, right? Human senses, physical senses. They can give you that thought. That thought is processed by the mind. Now the mind is saying, you know what? You need to run away from these things, or you need to run towards it and take care of it if you feel you can conquer it. Okay? Like David in the Bible will see Goliath and run towards Goliath. People will run away from, right? Other people will hide. Each person decides how they handle this thing. But the first thing is to be aware. When a thought comes that leads to anger or fear, what does that mean? Your body will receive a chemical reaction that is trying to tell the body to react in a certain way. That's why some people will punch somebody. If you anger them, they will punch. Some people will run away from confrontation. Some people will run towards, some people will run away. Some people will freeze. Now, when people freeze, That energy is still trapped in the body because you've not used it up. This is why a lot of movement, breath work, all kinds of remedies come in, because that energy is not supposed to stay in the body, right? You're supposed to burn it out. Okay, so emotions is temporary, feelings are more permanent, but that is covered in the human design class. So that's just an example. Now, another emotion that is very common, let's just say it's a family of emotion. Okay, doubts, confusion. When people doubt and when people feel confused, so here's the key. We label the reaction. The common reaction is that through time, humans have found a way to name those reactions. Okay? So beneath every emotional name, when we say doubt, confusion, is a chemical reaction in your body that is common to people, and it's driven by thoughts. So for example, when people doubt or are confused, they're in the same family, but they are slightly different. Is when you don't know what to do next, when you are lacking understanding, information on how to proceed, when you don't have direction. It's like when you are driving a car and you're at the fork in the road. Should I turn right? Should I turn left? Whenever you feel that you don't have the answer on how to proceed, the mind will give you this reaction, right, in your body. And it's a reaction of saying, look very, very well. We don't really have information, right? The mind is telling you, we've never been here before. I don't have inbuilt intelligence. I don't have a map to intelligently guide you. You've entered into a realm where we don't have resident knowledge on. This usually happens when you get a promotion, when you step into a new territory, a new domain, you meet new people, you move territories. Let's say you move your house into a new neighborhood, you're staring, you don't know who your neighbors are, you don't know where the supermarket is that the mind sends a signal of caution. Move carefully. I cannot guarantee outcomes, who these people are, what the road is, what you're doing. And many people term this as imposter syndrome. Okay? Generally speaking, some people have started labeling an identity around doubt, confusion. When you are standing in a scenario, in a position, in a new title, you're starting a new job, you're starting something new, that your mind, right, is experiencing that reality for the first time ever. The mind grows in capacity to understand. When you expose your mind to a realm, a domain, like I shared in another class, that you need to expand your domain of competency and consciousness. When there's no consciousness and there's no competency, and you step into a position, you step into a job, you become an entrepreneur, you were an employee, you become an entrepreneur, you get promoted, right? Anytime you step into a place and your own mind does not have competency or consciousness, it doesn't know the people, doesn't know what to do, has never done it before, the mind is in a learning state. The mind is going to signal to you, I can't give you a green signal that we know what we're doing, but be careful. Caution. Whenever caution comes in, this is the wisdom. What you need to be doing to handle the power of emotion is wisdom, applying wisdom. EQ is wisdom. IQ is intellect. There are times when IQ hasn't been upgraded. Consciousness, intelligence. You don't know what you're doing. You've not read the book. You've not been there for 5 years. You're a newbie. IQ is struggling to comprehend because it's now learning. It's a student in that space. But EQ is where divine wisdom lives in. And so divine wisdom allows you to handle your emotions, but people don't know how to tap into it. For example, caution. You're supposed to ask questions. The wisest thing you can ever do when you are doubting and confused is to seek advice. Is to seek advice, is to humble yourself and ask for directions. You are lost in the road. Your mind is saying, I don't know what to do. We can't turn right, we can't turn left. Many people will get stuck in that position for 5 years simply because of pride. You don't want to ask questions. You think you will figure it out. Well, let's see for how long. But the mind signals caution. We don't know enough to go forward, right, and guarantee the outcomes. So when you see doubt and confusion, typically is that people are lacking the information, the understanding, the direction to proceed intelligently in a way that will guarantee them the results and outcomes, the yield that they are desiring. Okay, so this is part of self-awareness. When people are not aware, they can doubt, be confused, and then be spinning around. And then there's more pain, emotional disturbances, anxiety. So many things come out of this, right? What I'm sharing today, so many things, dysregulated, right, functions come out of this. But when you are aware of what's going on, the human design, like I taught in the classes, when you understand that this is a signal, you can start reading yourself better. You can also start understanding other people better, and you can start reacting more intelligently. Okay? And then go, green, right? When you're happy, when you like your state of being, when you're enjoying yourself, when you know what you're doing, and you've done it enough times, and you're a pro, right? And you know everybody in your place of work, and you know what you're doing to generate business results in your business. Once you enter your flow, your emotions will be more stabilized. Because the mind, IQ, has caught up. IQ now understands, your body now has the skill, and now you know what to do and you can move forward freely. So stop, look, go, red, yellow, green. I'm sharing this today to help people understand your emotions. They are a signal into what's going on in your mind, and your mind is trying to tell you something. You're supposed to listen to what your mind is trying to tell you, and you actually, the self, okay, you're not your mind, but your mind is there to serve you. When you tell your mind to do something and it's in its attempt to do it, if it's not able to do it, it communicates back to you and tells you, oh, what I'm seeing, I don't like, what I'm experiencing, right? When you talk about barriers to success, it brings that information back to you. And I'm saying the self, if the self is empowered with wisdom, the self is supposed to undo the emotions. Okay? An empowered self handles the emotion. When a self is not empowered, the self does one of two things: becomes a victim or becomes a villain. When your mind tells you you're seeing something you don't like, you're experiencing something, or you're perceiving that the future is going to be something you don't want to experience, that's fear, and you feel you don't have any power, right? When the mind gives you that signal, an empowered self needs to tap into tools to tell a different story. In the EQ Human Design Spiritual Psychology, I explain how to start telling different stories that will support you in your quest. And David encouraged himself in the Lord. And David said to Goliath, the same Goliath that everybody saw and they were afraid. The same Goliath that the soldiers, military people saw, and their mind came up with a story that yielded them emotional fear. That same Goliath, David, a warrior, saw that same reality, but he told a different story. A story of a victor, not a victim. Right? He marshaled a different story that is based on his identity, the identity he has built, right? Through his experience watching sheep, the skills he had developed, right? The trust he had in God, right? Both the trust he had in God and the skills he had developed and what he had used those skills to perform, right? His history gave him a key into his destiny. He, through his skills and his belief in God and his identity and who he was, he spoke it out and he brought Goliath down. You can experience things that say other people will say is fear, but you, based on your own story, your own identity, your own belief system, that's what you use to override all of these things. So it's either people become a victim or a villain or a victor. A villain will attempt to punch shadows. When you see something you don't like, you start blaming somebody, you want to punch them. quote and unquote punch. A villain wants a victim. A villain will blame someone for being afraid, for being fearful, for doubting, for confusing. A villain will find, okay, the person who put them in that condition. They will not take responsibility for getting themselves out of this. I'm going to stop here because a ton of resources, 7 classes on this same topic, available to you at toyinyumesiri.academy. Listen, this is the season for Quantum Leap. And I'm telling you, the higher you go, these are the skills for success. This is what determines those who cross over into destiny, into higher opportunities, and those who say they're doubting, they're afraid, they're hungry, they're confused, and they stop there and they do not develop the wisdom, the inner strength, the inner fortitude, the capacity to override. I talk about expanding your emotional capacity in the class, emotional management, emotional regulation, self-awareness, self-leadership, self-regulation, self-therapy, tons of resources for managing your emotions, controlling your emotions, also working with other people so that you're an overcomer. You're not a victim, you're not a villain. Thank you so much. I'll see you again. This is Toyin Umesiri. Call me Coach Toyin, and I'll see you at toyinyumesiri.academy, the Quantum Leap Academy. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye.